Hi everyone, you're watching Tamit Saleh's Tennis Forum, and I am so excited to do this video. I have a very special guest with us on the channel. I'm so excited for him to be able to share his thoughts on yesterday's match and beyond as well. We are going to be having a three-part special with the one and only Gill Gross. I know many of you have already heard of him and he does some wonderful stuff. I'll put his channel link in the description below. One other exciting news I have for you guys is I have made up a Patreon account where you can support the channel. If this channel you feel has helped you, or you find it informative or enjoyable and you want to show some support, then I'll be putting my Patreon link in the description below as well. I'd just like to remind everyone that I will still be keeping my content all on YouTube, all for free, because I don't want anyone to miss out. But if you do have the means to support the channel for the price of a coffee a month, then that would be much appreciated, and it will all go back into the channel to make the content better. Hopefully the visuals will be better as well, just to enhance the whole dynamic. And I really hope that you enjoy this whole independent tennis journalism objective style that I'm trying to portray for you guys. But yeah, enough about that. We have a very special guest. Let's leave a target for this video at, let's say, 150 thumbs up. The response you guys have been giving me on my previous videos has been outstanding. We did a live watch along for the entire final, which you can see on YouTube. Amazing performance from Rafa, and yeah, I did not think I'd be doing the whole match, but it turned out that I did the entire match watch along. If you enjoyed it or think we should do more of that, then please do let me know. I think we had roughly 6,000 to 7,000 people across the live stream joining us, so it went really well and I thoroughly enjoyed doing a live stream and sharing it with you guys. But yeah, without further ado, I'm going to bring on our very special guest, and I hope you enjoy all three parts of this very special episode, let's say, of the discussion. So for me personally, I've seen Rafa almost from his first ever appearance at the French Open when he was a teenager with his sleeveless top, and you're thinking, who is this guy? And he, tore up the script. And I've seen him every year, and he's, for me right now, I believe he's a much better player than 10 years ago, 14 years ago, 15 years ago, however you may put it. So in my opinion, I think Novak said this as well, is, this was one of Rafa's best ever performances. So for you personally, do you think this was Rafa's best ever performance on clay?
I think it's such a good question, and it's so hard for me to answer. I'm pretty torn on it because I think that Rafa he's smarter now. He has so much more different ways to win points than he used to. He's a better strategist. He has a better serve. He does so many things better. What he does not have is the same kind of movement, the athleticism and the quickness that he once had. Ultimately, when I close my eyes and I try to imagine that match play out, I am it's so difficult. I think there was probably a sweet spot is probably my answer. I think that the young sleeveless Rafa that you're describing, that you watched when in 2005, and when he won the tournament in his first appearance, that Rafa would certainly lose, I think, to the Rafa we saw on Sunday. But then I think there was a period of time where Nadal had the movement, the athleticism, the explosiveness, but he also had the improved serve and the big forehand and the touch and the volleying and the variety. So I think there was probably a portion in the middle of Nadal's career, and I will loosely call that 2008 through 2012, where I think that Nadal would have beaten the Nadal we saw on Sunday.
Wow.
What do you think? What do you think?
So, in my opinion, I think so. I think Rafa in this final, that was the best ever performance I've seen from him. I know the result you're probably talking about is the 2008 final against Roger Federer, which was an even bigger margin of victory than what we saw yesterday. Another few performances from Rafa that comes to mind, memorable ones, is the 2013 semi-final against Novak, where I felt like, for me, if I remember three great performances from Rafa, those are the three. So it'd be yesterday's match, the 2008 final, and the 2013 semi-final against Novak. And they're all for quite different reasons. So the 2008 final was the biggest, like one of the biggest ever victories, 6-1, 6-3, 6-love, something like that against Roger. But I
should
feel
have
like
included 2013, by the way. I just want to. 2013 was an amazing year for Nadal, so I should have went to that year. I meant to go further.
yeah, nice. All right. So that
Yeah.
2008 beatdown kind of he gave to Roger, it was just so one-sided, and it was incredible. And at that point, one of the questions I remember they were asking on TV was, because bearing in mind at that point he'd not won a Wimbledon title yet. I believe he'd not won the US Open or Australian Open, so he was just going off French Open titles at that point. And they were asking, is Rafa closer to Roger on grass, or is Roger closer to Rafa on clay? And it was quite an emphatic answer that Roger is nowhere near beating Rafa on clay, whereas Rafa's fairly close at grass, because the Wimbledon final before that had gone to 5 sets. The match yesterday was different for me and more impressive, because I felt like Novak didn't play too badly. I felt like he played okay. Like, obviously it wasn't his best ever tennis performance, but I think he played to a high level and just couldn't live with Rafa at all. And the 2013 semi-final, even though it went to 5 sets and perhaps not as convincing of a let's say victory for Rafa, for me that one may be even more impressive than any of his victories, simply because he had to answer a lot more questions. He was down in the trenches. He was a breakdown in the fifth, if you remember. So he was under severe pressure and very, very close to actually losing the match. Whereas the first two that I've mentioned, he was never in danger of losing a match. Whereas that semi-final, which for me was essentially the final, because I think he played David Ferrer in the final, which I really had no disrespect to David. I just gave him no chance. So to be so close to losing, he was 4-3 down, a breakdown in that fifth set, and to come back, it showed a different kind of Nadal to me, the mental strength to come back from that. So yeah, those are the three matches of Rafa I most remember. I think the biggest victory was in 2008. The most impressive performance for me was in 2013, and probably the strongest performance, the best performance was yesterday. But I mean, they're all like, yeah, they're all great performances.
Yeah. Well, here's what I'll say. And again, I think I think this would be hard not only for us to answer. I think this would be hard for the actual players to answer. If you ask Nadal, you might have to think about it pretty hard.
Yeah.
I know that, and this was a debate with Sampras as well. Was he better when he won the U.S. Open in 2002? And some people thought that was a level that was best of his career, and he retired right away. So this is always a difficult question. What I think is, I think all three of Federer, Nadal, and Djokovic were better when they were in their late 20s. I do believe that. I think what's kind of skews it is now that they are a little, even if they're worse now, they are still the best.
They're winning a bigger percentage of slams. Where before you had Stan and Andy taking some slams off them. I feel like right now, even, yeah, like you said, they're not at their best, but it's because they're winning a higher percentage of slams that it seems like they're still peaking. But yeah,
right.
sorry.
So if you take a look at that performance from Nadal, well, I think not only is Nadal a little bit worse than he was in his mid to late 20s, I think Djokovic is a little worse than he was in his mid to late 20s. So comparatively, it's hard because they're still the best, even though they're a little bit worse. Yeah. I think just physical, because they are not the same. You do not see them. You do not see them digging in physically the way they used to be able to.
Yeah, true, fair points. And so another reason why I thought it was his best performance was from what I saw, and now you're going to be a way more knowledgeable person, so I'm glad to have you here as well, is that Rafa was playing very aggressively. You know, it could be to the conditions, he adapted his game, and that's one thing that great champions do. And I've said it throughout the tournament that this is what makes them great champions. They'll adapt and make a condition less favorable to them and make it a favorable condition. So I felt like he was playing, you know, closer to the baseline, more aggressive shots. Yeah, so just a few points I wanted to share with you. And finally, regarding this topic about is Rafa playing his best ever tennis, how many more French Opens can he win, Gil? So I know this is a I don't see the end line, especially after such a dominant victory for Rafa. If I had to put a number on it, and I know there was this funny comment that Nicolas Almagro made years ago, saying that this guy is going to be 45 and still winning French Opens. But then, me personally as well, I thought by 34, which is what Rafa is now, he's going to start slowing down. He won't be as dominant as he is, but he produced that yesterday at the age of 34. So, you know, I'm not saying he's going to go to 45, but surely he must have, what, 3, 4 years perhaps at the French Open. And for me, I don't see, I'd be very surprised now. He's on 13 now. I can very comfortably say I'm confident that Rafa will get to at least 15 at the French Open. What's your take on that?
I don't like to predict longevity. I think it's a very difficult thing to try to do.
So
But
one thing,
right
one
now,
thing to sorry to quickly interrupt you. One thing I'm going to say is we're going to completely ignore that any injuries can happen to you know
sure.
take out the career, because that could happen anytime. And then you know even tomorrow one of them could have a major injury and that just wipes them away. So we're gonna, let's say, not think of career-threatening injuries here. Just in general, yeah, your opinions on how many more French Opens he can win.
I think I think anywhere between 2 to 4 is reasonable. But you know, the four, the side of that, the four side is that'd be crazy. That'd be difficult. No one should expect that of Nadal. One thing I think we should consider is it will have something to do with, does Dominic Thiem continue to get better? Now, at the level that Thiem is right now, I comfortably favor Nadal over him on a Sunday on court Philippe Chatrier in a French Open final. But I think you do need to, everyone does need to understand that year after year after year, and this has continued in 2020, Dominic Thiem has gotten better. If he continues to get better, he's going to be a problem. He's going to be dangerous. And as much as people want to throw their hands up and say Nadal will never lose to Thiem at the French Open, he might if Thiem keeps getting better.
Yeah. So my opinion on that, and I think what you've said, yeah, 2 to 4 is a reasonable thing, but thinking 4 is just he'll get to 17 at one major.
Crazy.
You know, Pete Sampras, who had the record when he retired at 14 Grand Slams, little did he know that within less than a couple of decades, there'd be one guy who's probably going to match that or beat that from just one slam. Forget even anything else. So it's remarkable what Rafa has done. But so
I'm not sure if 4 is, now that I'm thinking about it, I don't know if 4 is in the reasonable range, because that would make him 38 when so it's pretty old.
So my opinion on that is I think the next 2 years at least, Rafa will carry on with a very normal schedule like he has in the past. But then once he is reaching 37, 38, depending on his body, I can see Rafa at that point just playing the clay season. So the way, and you know, maybe the US Open. So the way Roger does, you know, he didn't play the French Open for a few years. I could see Rafa perhaps reversing that, because if at that point for me, it's just about keeping himself fit and healthy and motivated. And I feel like he will still believe that if he takes the rest of the year off, comes back for the clay season, plays a few Masters 1000s to get the warm up, play the Roland Garros, yeah, why not? He could still do it. One interesting thing you said about Dominic Thiem is, does he get better? And I think I agree with you that if he carries on at this level, I don't think he beats Rafa in the next 2 to 3 years at least. If he then say beats a 38-year-old Rafa in 4 years' time, is everyone just gonna say that, oh, you just beat Rafa because he's 38? Is that going to be much of an achievement at that age anymore, or does he need to do it, within the next couple of years? Because beating a 38-year-old Rafa is just, I feel like it might not be an achievement at that point.
Well, at a certain point, you can't have it both ways. You either gotta. I would hope that if they were in the final, then obviously Nadal was good enough to get to the final. We're it's a bit of mental gymnastics, but I do hope that Dominic Thiem gets a normal major that isn't in a pandemic with Federer out with knee surgery and Djokovic defaulted and Nadal not there. And I think he will. So at a certain point, I think Thiem will win a major and he will get the full heaps of credit that comes with a regular normal major during regular times.
I think he needs to do it soon though, because a lot of people are saying that the US Open is an asterisk slam. I don't believe that, but it's undeniable that he didn't have to face any of the big three, to get there. Two of them didn't even play, and the other one got defaulted. So I think he needs to really try win a slam with them there. But yes, credit to him. I think what we'll do, Gil, is we'll wrap up part 2 here. So this video, it was about is Rafa playing his best ever tennis on clay. I think I'm a bit more leaning towards yes more than yourself. But I mean, we've had some pretty, daunting, performances from Rafa over the years. So it's quite difficult to say whether he's playing his best or not. But I'll let you guys decide. Do share in the comment section and join us for part 3, which will be whether or not it's a must-win now for Novak Djokovic to win the Australian Open if he's going to realize his ambition for winning the most ever slam. So see you guys in part 3.